When you log into the system and reach the shell command prompt, you are usually placed in your home directory like this. Often you want to explore other areas in the Linux system besides just your home directory, of course. So this lecture, you will learn how to do that using the shell commands. To start, you need to take a tour of just the Linux file system looks like, so you know where are you going. My name is Stefan, and let's get started. So if you are new to Linux system, you may be confused by how it references files and directories, especially if you are used to the way that the Microsoft Windows operating system does that. So before exploring the Linux system, it helps to have an understanding of what's laid out. So the first difference you will notice in the Linux does not use the drive letters in the path names. So in Windows world, the partitions on physical drives installed on the computer determine the path name of the file. So Windows assigns a letter to each physical disk drive partition, and each one contains its own directory structure for accessing files stored on it. So for example, Windows, maybe you use the sync files like C drive, D drive in Windows, and the Windows file path tells you exactly which physical disk partition contains the file named, for example, test dot the txt here, txt here. So for example, if you save the text.txt on the flash drive, for example, in this case it's the flash drive D here, designated by the letter D, the file path would be like D here and test.txt here. Let's actually make it look that. Test.txt. So this is not the method in the used by Linux, obviously. So this is just a Windows method that I wanted to show you here. So the virtual directory contains the file path. So, but firstly, the Linux here, this is the Linux file system. The Linux file system stores files with a single directory structure here. So this structure called virtual directory. The virtual directory contains file paths from all the storage devices installed on the computer, merged into a single directory structure. So, here you will notice that the Linux uses the forward slashes like this instead of a backward slash like Windows to denote the directories in file paths. So the backward slash character in Linux denotes an escape character and causes all sorts of problems when you use it in a file path. So this might take some time to getting used to it if you are coming from the Windows environment. So in Linux, you will see the path names, for example, the root, home, and in home, for example, we can have the documents here, documents. And in docs we may have the, for example, test.txt. So this here, it's not like Windows, right? So firstly you come from the root, home, then docs directory, and then finally a file here. So this indicates that the file test.txt in the directory is documents under the directory home, which is contained in the directory home. So obviously in the home here you would have the some user here, and then the directories here. So the tricky part about the Linux virtual directory is how it incorporates each storage device. So the first hard drive installed in a Linux system is called the root drive here. So on the root drive, Linux can use special directories as a mount points. So mount points are directories in the virtual directory where you can assign additional storage devices. So Linux causes files and directories to appear within these mount point directories here. Even though they are physically stored on a different drive. So often systems files are physically stored on the root drive here. So usually typically stored on the separate drives or users in Linux.